What's up guys, Draco here. Talk about springs if that wasn't clear. I've started doing this same thing every intro of what's up guys, Draco here, and expecting myself to know what to continue from that. And every time I don't know what to continue from that. So maybe I should change up the intro. I maybe will. I'll probably forget. But who knows. Anyway, springs. I think springs are pretty chill. This is the stupid. Yeah, but I don't know, I think it's pretty cool how, like, you can just bounce. There's not many things where you can just, like, compress it. Well, I guess there are elastic stuff. I don't know, I was thinking about this because my pen broke, and then there was a spring inside of it. I don't really understand, like, I understand the concept of a spring, but I don't really know how the spring helps the pen. But that's because I don't do DT or anything, like, I don't make pens. And I don't attempt to understand the making of pens. Because again, being an idiot is great. This is my life philosophy. Yeah. That's a stupid sentence out of context. I'll assume most people have watched a lot of other stuff where I've explained. But yeah, I think a lot of people are scared to be stupid. But when you're the stupidest person in the room, you just, like, ask questions and you're not embarrassed about, like, asking a question that might have an obvious answer. Because, like, when I was, like, younger, I was a fairly, like, gifted student. I do it in quotation marks because, yeah. But yeah, I don't know, I was just, like, I think I just paid attention in class where people didn't, because it's year 2 and who's going to pay attention? I don't really pay that much attention. I still somewhat pay attention anyway. But yeah, I used to be, like, one of the smarter people until it was, like, year 4 and you actually had to, you know, do stuff. To be fair, I think it was mainly COVID where I just, like, stopped actually caring. Until then I actually cared about school, and then I was like, eh. And now I somewhat care. But anyway. Why was I talking about this? Oh yeah, being stupid. So when you're, like, smarter, you're scared to ask questions because it might, like, fracture your identity of, oh wow, this person doesn't know everything. But when you're an idiot like me, everyone knows you know nothing anyway, so you may as well just ask stupid questions. It's genius. I think, obviously don't ask loads of questions because then nothing can happen. And it's just kind of annoying to everyone, including the person you're asking questions to. But if you, like, ask a couple questions that, like, if it's, you think that question's too stupid, then, like, and so you don't want to ask it, you may as well just ask it, because if you just go the whole time not knowing what they're talking about, then it's like, well, unless you have, like, a phone and it's just, like, a word you don't know, because I'm horrible at English, so there's a lot of times people say stuff and I'm like, I don't know what that word means. So I'm just like, hold on, whilst you're talking, I'm just going to Google what that word means, because I don't want to, like, interrupt the flow of conversation if it's something that's really easily Googleable. Googleable? Googleable is a very fun word to say. I don't actually know if it's a word. My favourite word to say is overzealous. Overzealous is very fun to say. But yeah, also being an idiot, just, like, you're just happier because you don't have all the stresses of life. Obviously, like, I used to not care about politics and I was like, oh, this was great, and then I realised that's just being privileged as well as being young. And, like, politics affects everyone. You have to be in touch with stuff to some extent, but there's certain things where it's like, if it definitely won't affect you, it's like, who cares? I've also found that, like, just letting people have their opinions about stuff that's not very important, like flat earth, like, I don't think the earth's flat. I think that it's fairly, like, misguided to think that it is. But also, if someone came to me saying, oh, the earth's flat, I'd be like, sure, I don't really care, because it's not hurting people, that info. I mean, you could get into a whole thing about, like, is that promoting, like, anti-intellectualism? Is it a gateway to other stuff? I'm always like, eh. At least that belief in itself is not that bad. whether it means they're more susceptible to more conspiracy theories and stuff, and then maybe those could be harmful. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not intelligent enough for that. I've made this entire point about being stupid. I don't know why you'd expect me to do something really intelligent at the end. I don't know how I got here. I was talking about springs, wasn't I? Anyway, I think springs are really cool, and they help a lot of things function. That's great. There's a lot of things where it's like gears are like the obvious thing that makes things function, but I feel like springs kind of get like the chopping block. They're just like, oh yeah, if I'm looking at a clock, there's so many gears in it, but you're not like, oh, there's so many springs in it. I think there are springs in the clock, right? There's at least springs in like a cuckoo clock. I assume there are springs in a real clock. Maybe I'm just thinking of video games where you break a clock and then springs come out. No, I think I've seen a broken clock. There were springs in it. I am a broken clock. That's why I'm right twice a day. I think there are springs in a clock. If there aren't, this whole thing falls apart. But yeah, springs are just pretty fun. In video games, though, they suck. There's so many video games with like a spring power up. Like, I'm gonna use Spring Mario from Mario Galaxy as my example. And it's just like, it's not fun. Because it's like, oh great, you missed that jump because you bounced up and you couldn't jump at that time. It's like, great. Like, I think, I've not played it, but the new, like, update to Kirby's Forgotten Land, I've seen that the spring ability seems better than that, because it seems like you can just jump at any time anyway. Use the bounce. Like, it launches you to the ground quickly. Which I think is good. Because, like, you know, you can just, like, obviously it's not as realistic, but it's a video game where a character becomes a spring. Does anyone care it's realistic? I feel like a lot of video games go like, oh, let's make sure it's really realistic, and I'm like, I'm playing a game to escape reality. I don't need it to be that real. That being said, I love Animal Crossing, even though it's just about paying debts. But it's paying debts in a fun way. If I could pay debts by just, like, fishing and catching bugs and then buy a house, I would do that. But I can't. So yeah. Other thing is, springs, like, they're just fun. Like, I don't... I've mentioned how they're practical, they're also just fun to, like, squeeze and stretch. Kind of like slinkies. I guess I just don't own a slinky. I would probably prefer a slinky. But a slinky works in the same way as a spring, doesn't it? I think. I think a slinky is just a big spring. I say that with little knowledge. As I do with everything. I say most things with little knowledge. Because I have little knowledge. I have, like, very little knowledge, and even less motivation to find out. Yeah. It's just, like, like, I'm that person who's, like, always willing to help at, like, stuff. Like, set stuff up and stuff. But I have none of the ability to actually help with setting it up. Like, I'm here, I have the willingness to help, but I have no resources and no talent. And it's like, great, can you just, like, move this thing, like, over there? And it's like, yeah, I can do that. And it's like, hey, can you help me put this up? I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Hey, can you hold this ladder? Sure, but if it drops, I probably can't help you. It's like, because I want to help people, I'm just kind of incompetent, because I have not many life skills. I mean, I have life skills, just not, like, setting stuff up. Like, I've learned to cook and stuff like that. I mean, I'm agender, so this point I'm about to make is probably a bad point, but I feel like, well, not a bad point, but just doesn't really apply to me. But a lot of people in my school, because I go to an all-boys school, seem to just think that, like, cooking is a feminine thing. I'm like, no, it's a thing that everyone needs to do. You need to know, at least to some extent, how to cook, so that when you go out and live on your own for a bit, you can, you know, cook stuff. Well, I guess you could just go to, like, Tesco Meals or something. But, like, you're saying, like, I feel like basic tasks should not be gendered. Although I don't think this is a controversial opinion. I think that there's just like a very vocal minority who think it. So yeah. Anyway, this was meant to be about springs. I mentioned springs a decent-ish amount compared to some of the other videos. Compared to like, I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you're down in the dumps, make sure you can spring back and go seize the day. Carpe diem. And if you're stupid, just like know it's okay. And if you're a genius, well, you probably don't need my advice. Bye!